Technical issues during the broadcast, please call the Oregon Studio Hotline at 336-831-0864. Stations, your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Duck's gonna pick it up, and here we go. Got him deep. He's open. He's got it, and he's gone.
How about that?
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
Duarte pulls up, 3-ball. Bang! L.J. Figueroa!
Oregon goes back-to-back for the fourth time in the last 6 years. The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
Foley three. Goal! Foley ball. Three is good. Diarra-Savali. Wing. Pow. Yeah, boom, boom.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
What a weekend.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
We have breaking news on a Tuesday as we welcome you inside the Country Financial Studio. H.J. Cohn is the breaking news. He's going to tell you all about it, ladies and gentlemen. Hey!
That's how you lose credibility real quick. You are setting yourself up for failure, Bubba.
H.J. Cohn is our guest. It is Athletic Director Tuesday, always brought to you by our friends at Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. H and I talked about this, about him being in studio for the first time that I think we've seen each other in person, apart from maybe waving across the arena at a basketball game in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So welcome back to the studio.
Thank you.
We missed you, buddy.
Thank you. Positive steps forward.
What's our breaking news today?
We'll cover a lot. We got. I was just saying, it's fun time of year. We got postseason coming around the corner for a lot of sports, and obviously it's no secret. Tennis's successes and softball, baseball ramping up for postseason, track and field. So this is some of the better times of the year that we all look forward to after a fun March Madness run.
Well, like I said to you before we got going here, this is like the easiest time of year for me to do a show because I can basically just read postseason projections and say what the Ducks need to do to host and do these things. That's basically an entire week.
Yeah, you're busy these days because of that. That's good. We like that.
Oh, it's fun. I wouldn't have it any other way. I would not have it any other way. We got a lot to talk about, though, in all seriousness. I always like to put H on the spot. I'm feeling like you must have thought about this. Because we're sitting here masked up, that means that you couldn't bring Carl's Jr. for both of us? Was that the thought process?
That's true. And a pretty busy schedule today. Otherwise, I would have gone out and got us dialed up.
Notice how it was a really busy schedule when he was here in person, but when we do these on Zoom and he holds up a bag of Carl's Jr. right for us in front of us.
I know. I do love me some Carl's Jr.
You guys seeing a pattern here with the Senior Associate Athletic
I'll
Director?
take care of you someday. I'll surprise you here in a little bit, all right?
Hey, thanks for always taking the time. It is a big week, though. I want to talk with you about the Day of Giving coming up on Thursday. And actually, I should say I didn't think about that when I scheduled this for you like 6 weeks ago. I actually didn't line that up perfectly. I wish I could take credit for that. So, Callie Wagner, sorry, I didn't think about that. But this is going to be a big week. We'll talk about that. And, hey, you talked about how things are maybe getting a little bit better. I think the light's flickering at the end of the tunnel. A lot of fans want to know what that means for the fall. A lot of fans want to know what that means for football. A lot of fans want to know what that means for tickets next weekend, for example.
Sure.
How have you been able to answer all those questions for you and your staff? Because I don't know how to answer all those questions every day for me and Scott.
Yeah, good question. It's, I would say the biggest challenge is communication right now. And because it's changing so often, as many people are probably paying attention to that, we're strictly going by Oregon Health Authority, the governor's office, Lane County Public Health. Our number one priority, it has been since day one, is health and safety of student athletes, staff, fans, and that list continues. And so our cadence, we're staying the course in that sense, but trying to find ways in a safe manner to bring people back into the stands and into our venues, particularly our outdoor venues. What that looks like for the fall right now, hard to say. I was talking to Rob the other day, and he said, somebody asked him, he's like, as much as we do. Honestly. Yeah. Now, if I'm a betting man, I'm looking towards the future and looking at the vaccination rates and so forth, that things are trending the right way. going from extreme down to high risk and hopefully trending in the right direction in the future. So, the fall in my mind is a long ways out. Normally I'd be a little worried it's coming up. Now I'm like, no, stay away, keep it going, because it just gives us time to recover and come back to what we are used to in some sense of normalcy. Yeah. So fall is one thing. On the immediate stuff for home games, say softball and baseball and track and field particularly, it's really challenging to communicate the details of how you come up with 15% or 25%. And there's fixed numbers in your capacity limit, and there's variables, right? Mm-hmm. And not to get people bored and jump off the show already after you made the breaking news piece.
No, this is the nitty-gritty report.
But you go through these models, right? And let's say we're at 15%. At softball, your numbers of student athletes and coaches and managers and whatnot, umpires, they're fixed, right? Mm-hmm. Track and field is variable every event, every meet, because you don't know what teams, what individuals, how many people on each team are coming in till the week of, right? So the numbers fluctuate. Then what people don't understand fully is that 15% is not in the grandstands. That's not just in, let's say, the Bob and Jane Sanders Stadium where the seating is. That's anyone on property scanning tickets to, security. Broadcaster. He's taking up one of your numbers.
Sorry, guys.
That's that, in addition to what we can fit 6 feet physically distance in pods of 2 or 4. So the numbers are constantly changing. The time frame, and our number one goal is always to look back and say, okay, when we're looking at our timeline for games coming up this weekend or something, we're going to say what gives our season ticket holders the best chance and maximum capacity based on our timing and waiting for news to come in. So sometimes it is last minute, but we're doing that in part because we're trying to get the most updated information go on sale to allow maximum or highest level capacity, particularly to our season ticket holders and donors.
H.J. Cohn joining us. You know that I like to have a lot of fun on this show, obviously. That's why we start with things like, hey, breaking news, H.J. Cohn is here, everybody. But these are serious things. These are serious points, and you guys have had to basically overuse the word pivot, adapt.
All the buzzwords.
I think that we all know that everyone's probably pulled out a thesaurus for those words at this point.
Yeah, uncharted territories, navigating, you name it.
Sure. Unseen waters, stranger tides. How many nautical ones can I get?
Yeah, can we stay in that theme?
Yeah. How many can we get in by the end of this interview? We're going to have to start keeping track. But this is a serious deal, and I think, we haven't said this on the show yet because the University of Oregon announced it after the show yesterday, but Oregon will require, the university that is, students and employees who learn, work, or live on all UO campuses to receive a COVID-19 vaccination prior to the start of the fall academic term. That was announced yesterday. Students and employees will be able to seek an exemption to the vaccination requirement. That is, by the way, the same as it is for a lot of other vaccines that people have when they go to school, for example. And I think with all that in mind, I'm very sensitive to the fact that there's going to be a lot of people that have strong opinions on this, that have strong feelings on that. You've probably heard from a lot of these people
Certainly.
as well. How have you, in your role, H, responded to some of that and just the public health aspect while you're also trying to still, in a lot of ways, run a business, right? This is a delicate situation that I feel like we're all in. It's not just the University of Oregon and the athletic department, and then in our little bubble here in the studio, it's really the entire world.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is unknown. I try and do my best to keep a pulse on what's going on. So I saw, I don't even know who the person was, but they said, would you go to a game tomorrow at Autzen Stadium? Mm-hmm. And I saw some of the comments of, absolutely, I'm fully vaccinated. No, I'll skip a game to see how it goes. What are the practices that University of Oregon and Oregon Athletics are putting into place? Well, first off, anything when we come to a return to venue, just like we did with Jane Sanders, PK Park, Hayward Field, we are outlining all those new precautions we've put into place. It's our intentions that we are going mobile. We're going to do contactless ticketing. We're going to try and do contactless parking. Try and do concession where you can order through the app now and just go pick up, so it's cashless. So there's these things that we are going to continue to implement, not only to stay up with the times, if you will, but because of COVID-19 and to continue, that best practice of health and safety. So I think I've heard tons of feedback. It is very different. Don't take this the wrong way, but it's the argument of someone who thinks it's okay to stand in the stadium or not stand the whole time, with someone sitting right behind them and they pay for their ticket. Is it okay to do that? Is it not?
It's a comfort level.
It's a comfort level. It's a personal decision, and I completely respect that. So I think a lot of that time will tell. I think a lot of eyes are on football, which for us is first week of September. So when you look at that, is there going to be other large-scale events or other venues that individuals are participating in, whether that's travel, whether that's a vacation, whether that's a movie theater, whether that's going to a mall, whatever that may be, where there's, it's starting to reflect of what a game day might represent in some sense. Certainly not on the scale of 54,000, but trending that way. How do they feel? And are they becoming acclimated, or are they saying, no, this doesn't feel right, I'm backtracking? So everyone's going to be different, and we'll just continue to adapt and take care of people.
H.J. Cohn's with us, Senior Associate Athletic Director for the Duck Athletic Fund. I want to talk with you a little bit about the Day of Giving coming up in a moment, but I think you said something that's interesting there. We all know that this has forced us all in every walk of life to adapt and to innovate in a lot of different ways. You touched on some of the innovations to kind of be up with the times. Do you think that this has pushed a lot of those things forward faster? And is that ultimately, in the long run, maybe going to be a good thing for the fan experience?
Yeah, I mean, for us, on the ticketing side, we were planning on going mobile ticketing at some point. I would argue that transition has been easier because it's been easier and well-received, or easier received because of the pandemic, versus us Oregon Athletics forcing it on you. Now, and listen, we're not the first to do that. You travel, how many people are using their app on their cell phone as their ticket?
It was like the clear bag policy a few years ago, right?
Exactly. So, but some of it, I think, also just is a good reminder of what we could have had all along that we just maybe didn't have that nudge to do, and now we've done it. And so I think long run, it'll actually be very beneficial.
We talk about the flickering light. I've said that phrase a lot now, at the end of the tunnel. Melyssa Lombardi, I got to give her credit, who we'll talk with on the show coming up a little later on. I should have said that, by the way. Oregon softball head coach going to join us about a half an hour. I think the light is kind of flickering at the end of the tunnel. Now we got to make sure that it doesn't go out. I feel like one of the ways that you talk about doing things safely. Well, a sport that's done well in the pandemic is golf, right? Mm-hmm. That's a sport that a lot of people have started playing a lot more golf because it's a sport that you can do in this environment. I understand you guys are planning to go back to some of the golf tournaments that we've all enjoyed over the last.
Yeah, so our intentions from the Duck Athletic Fund standpoint is our fans and supporters have been amazing during this and throughout the pandemic. I mean, the amount of information that we're putting out there, your season tickets are going to do this or that. Again, our hope and our goal was to be accommodating to season ticket holders. It's no secret our deficit that we've been facing. We've been very public about that. And so they have been very, very generous. Patient is definitely the word that comes to mind. But we are, again, kind of that light at the end of the tunnel we keep referencing, is opening up these golf tournaments, which we've had for many, many years, and around the state and in California even, where our donors and season ticket holders and supporters come out and engage and have an opportunity to hear from our coaches and our staff, and for us just to say thank you. And so our plans for the month of June, more or less, are to do that, and I think that's something that our staff is looking forward to, too.
Who's the best golfer on the staff, you think? Besides the golf coaches. I'm going to remove them
in the
from
department?
The conversation,
Robert Johnson's a stick.
Okay.
Kevin McKenna and Dana are both sticks. Dana will argue he's not, but Kevin, I know he sure is. And Dana's really good out of the sand, too. Robert definitely comes to mind. I mean, Mo Vaughn. Hello.
Well,
I know you said no golf coaches, but
yeah, you can't.
That's the queen.
Yeah, I mean, she only qualified for the U.S. Women's Open as an assistant coach for the Ducks. Not bad, right?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So, what are you shooting these days?
A lot.
All right.
Yeah.
So
if
you
I
and
play,
me both.
I'm still one of the better golf ball donators to the courses.
I like to think of myself as at these events. I'm really just more of like the golf cart entertainment.
Yeah.
That's really my role. Everybody has a role. I do it well.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you know what you're good at. Stay the course.
That's right.
I'm with you, baby.
That's right. H.J. Cohn's joining us. Quick time out. When we come back, we're going to continue to talk about a lot of serious things. I think this has been great, H, so thanks for the honesty. We're going to talk also a little bit about men's golf in the regionals. 14 straight, by the way. Can you believe that? 14 straight times you're going to the postseason. Casey Martin's just like the sunrise in the morning. The Ducks are in. Should have made a nautical reference on that one. That's a missed opportunity. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
On March 5th, 2021, we lost a larger-than-life member of the Oregon Ducks family. Chris Bjork passed away surrounded by his wife Allison and their 3 sons, Anders, Henry, and Jordy. After spending more than 26 years working with the University of Oregon, we are proud to establish the Chris Bjork Scholarship Fund in his honor. Go to goducks.com/Bjork Scholarship. That's goducks.com/Bjork Scholarship to make a contribution and help us remember a great Duck.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Everybody buckle up. Mom, buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom,
buckle
can we get
up.
some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you. H.J. Cohn is kind enough to join us. He's here in person. This
Love
is
it.
fun, man. You know,
Love it.
It's one of those things that you take for granted. Like, Zoom interviews are great. The amount of exposure and access and technology and the people that we can now have on. We've talked with so many pro Ducks because of kind of the normalcy of a Zoom interview.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, I mean, this is better.
It's funny you say take for granted. I was sitting there and, you know, after being a year into this thing, after being here 11 years is you got you have these lulls, right? It's becoming winter. It's dark out early. It's winter break, and it's a Sunday night basketball game at 8 p.m. against whatever opponent you want to call it. You know, pick it out of anywhere. And you're like, man, I'm just wiped and going to another game. Now sign me up for that Sunday 8 p.m. game. Get me there. I am ready to go, baby.
Man, I'll go.
Jacksonville State, let's go.
Yeah, I'll take you a step further. I remember when ESPN did the 24 hours of tip-offs, right? I'll take the midnight game. I don't care.
Yep.
You know,
yep,
that's
so true.
It's kind of where we're at. Athletic Director Tuesday always brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. We were talking about men's golf. Let's talk about them for just a second. We're going to hear from Casey Martin on the show tomorrow. Actually, the Oregon men's golf head coach will join us before they travel to their regional 14 straight. I mean, that's tough to do. It's tough to get into the postseason every single year.
We've talked about it quite a bit and what he's done and his assistant, Coach Lanning, this year especially with really so many unknowns. And I would say what they've done with a very, very young team this season is even more remarkable, and I think the future is so bright for them. You look at the student athletes that got an extra year. So for someone like a Pepperdine, I think they had 5 seniors come back for their second round, right? And so you have a very experienced team, and they're a very good program. So I think for the future of Oregon men's golf is going to be so bright because you have such a young team. You potentially have, I think it's 3 or 4 freshmen and 2 sophomores who are all kind of in the rotating for the travel squad right now. So excited to see how they do at regionals.
And a number of those guys were honored by the Pac-12 Conference on the all-newcomer team.
Yeah.
You know, the Ducks had the most of any program, and you're kind of looking at that, go, wow, they made regionals, and they had the most guys on the all-newcomer team. Future might be pretty bright.
And it's been trending well as of late, especially really trying to kind of finding their own. And, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, going up to, I'm going to mess it up, but Cleellum, I believe it's called, is going to be interesting. Playing in the Pacific Northwest, you're a lower seed than if you would have been going out to Tallahassee, but playing in the Pacific Northwest, it's close by. Maybe that adds some value.
Yeah. A couple updates, by the way, for Oregon women's golf. They got postponed due to inclement weather again in Baton Rouge today, which may actually end up working out for the Ducks. We'll talk about that coming up later on next segment, as Derek Radley and his squad have yet to actually tee off in their regional. Yeah. So hopefully the weather cooperates down there in Baton Rouge. We've talked a lot about tickets. We've talked a lot about all these different things, and you're in charge of the Duck Athletic Fund. That's what you're the Senior Associate Athletic Director of. And I always say the longer your title, the more important you are, right? Mine is just broadcaster. That's all it says. So for yours, and I say that jokingly because I also know that you're the sports administrator for men's golf. That's why I'm asking you about this. Is that like one of the most rewarding things about what you get to do, right? Like you have such an awesome job. I think a lot of people look at that and go, God, that's cool. But you also get a chance to work with student athletes.
Yeah,
that's fun.
That's definitely fun. I think when that opportunity came about, Casey and I spoke about it and just felt like a natural fit. We've always talked and enjoyed and respected one another. And our conversations certainly are around golf, but a lot of it around football and basketball and just kind of chopping it up. And I've always enjoyed that. And then to see his capabilities in coaching, how he, to your point, 14 straight seasons heading to regionals is very impressive. And you don't just – it doesn't happen overnight. And so particularly when you look at 14 years, how different the college athletics landscape was 14 years ago from a recruiting aspect, from a facility standpoint, you name it. And so I think to see what he's done, again, no surprise after the national championship and runner-up and the success, but still, nevertheless, really fun. And then to your point, to a chance to work with student athletes, great young men on a day-to-day basis. And I wish I could spend more time around them. That's kind of been taken away from COVID. Yeah. But I really do enjoy that aspect of it.
Talking about being the sports administrator, I feel like I haven't done a very good job of explaining to fans when I talk with folks like yourself about what that means. What are you doing in that role, right? Like what is that in
Well, each sport is absolutely different. The larger student athletes on a team or larger coaching staffs. I selfishly, I got probably the easiest one, right? You got about 13, 14 kids and 2 coaches, and it's relatively easy, and in the sense of you're making sure you're in touch with the coach's staff, talking about what's your next month, 2 months, 3 months travel look like, competitive schedule, budgetary conversations, and then during COVID that all obviously ramped up from a medical perspective. Here's our protocols, here's our expectations. So that would be, I think, the best way to summarize it, and then anything kind of that falls out under the apple tree of what else can we help out with?
Other duties as assigned.
Yeah, and what can we help you with? And what are, let's look at what our goals are for next year. How can we get better on your end? What can we do as a department to help you from a resource standpoint? And always just kind of constantly communicating.
It's a university-wide day coming up on Thursday, the day of giving. Give us the details.
Yeah, so I don't even know how annual it is. I think it's our 5th annual that we started with the campus and partnering with them. Obviously, we're just one branch from the University of Oregon, just like the School of Journalism, the Lundquist College of Business. So we're very excited to participate. We have asked a lot of our donors and season ticket holders this year to stay with us, and we certainly want them to know we greatly appreciate that. So the Day of Giving is going to give an opportunity to say thank you, but also an opportunity to say, hey, if it makes sense for someone to give, we'd be absolutely grateful for it.
One of the things that you're all going to hear actually coming up on Thursday is a particular playlist that was put together to sort of bring back all the memories of University of Oregon. I think that many of you will probably remember a few of the songs that are in the playlist. More on that coming, so keep your eyes peeled to social media. Have you listened to the playlist, Jason?
I've gotten snippets of it. I would say the idea, and kudos to Callie Wagner and Lauren Kaufman for really running with Day of Giving from the athletic side, is kind of this fun way of how do we get the excitement back. And so there's some names, some voices, some songs. You can go listen to it while you work out, listen to it at your desk at the office. Some of them you might want to turn down a little bit, but just something fun where we can kind of, again, continue to feel that excitement of when we're back in our venues all together again.
It might already be on Spotify if you want to if you want to look already. So just so you know, just remember when you hear the opening introduction, you can just go ahead and skip that and go straight to the next song because the opening introduction is me. So just don't even.
Wow. Breaking news, the opening introduction.
Breaking news. Yeah, breaking news. Don't worry, you'll actually hear it's actually pretty great. You're going to hear one in particular weather report from Don, and it's I mean, guys, I'm not telling I'll
tell you today what it is. It's nice.
Well, so but you talk about, to bring this full circle, you talk about taking things for granted. Hearing Don Essig say his weather report with no one in the stands.
Yeah.
It was weird for me to be sitting in section 29, row 18, and hearing that and looking around and going, where is everybody, right? And then I hear the recording that of one with a full crowd behind it that he introduces. And this is before the new sound system, which I've been saying you're never going to hear Don sound so good as with the new sound system when we have a full Autzen again. I mean, H, you take something for granted. I heard that, and I immediately went like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's something that you take for granted a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah, well, the fun thing is as we do come back and come back to games, we'll just, again, to your point, appreciate, I think, the pageantry, the camaraderie, and what the game day consists of. And I know you kind of get in these, and maybe something good comes out of this. Maybe it was a nice little reset for fans, for coaches, for administrators to say, man, we have it pretty darn good here at University of Oregon. We are so fortunate to have the supporters we do, the coaches we do, student athletes, the support from campus. Maybe all of a sudden you're like, gosh, it just reset a little, and let's go attack it again.
Normally, Duck Insider, and this is going to be the case, so when the final Oregon athletic event of the spring is wrapped up, then we'll take our summer break, and then we'll come back in August for fall camp. So this might be the last time that you and I talk. So I want to give you the chance, just first of all, to...
Well, geez, you're not going to, text me or check in with me over the summer?
Publicly on the show.
Man.
I'll see you at some golf tournaments.
I just get used. Just, hey, can you be here at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays? Dang.
Yep, that's what
all
it
right.
is.
Forget your Carl's Jr. Ain't going to come anymore.
I deserve that. Breaking news. H.J. and Joey just can't even get through an entire interview. Well, first of all, I want to say thanks, though, for always having fun with us, talking about some serious issues.
I love it.
And, I will say I don't want to downplay what's going on in the world. I think there's a lot of serious issues to cover, but I also know that on this show, sports is usually the escape for people. I like to try to give that to people. I think that we have a lot of fun doing that. You're a big reason why. So thank you for what you do. Thanks for always taking the time to come on. And lastly, I just wanted to say, is there anything else that you want fans to know as we head into the rest of the year, and then also as we get toward the summer and hopefully a full Autzen Stadium?
Yeah, just an appreciation and thank you for the continued patience more than anything. I know I'm starting to get questions about what about Ohio State tickets, and I'm like, oh, hey, hold your horses. We're trying to track how many we're even going to get and how we're going to allocate them and so forth.
Right.
And just a continued awareness. We'll try and do our best to continue to communicate with everybody, and that's via social, that's via Rob Mosley, that's our website, that's our duck mails, that's on this show. We're going to do our best as we can, and again, it's constantly changing, so we are prepared to adapt, but we also kind of have a plan and cannot wait to see fans back in our venues as quickly as we can in a healthy and safe manner.
What are you doing this summer? Golfing?
No, probably preparing how to get people back in Autzen. Yeah. I got a few things planned. I'm going to get
you
away
can't
a little
do
bit.
both?
No, I'm going to get away a little bit. I definitely am. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm working the whole time by any means. I'm going to take some time with our family. We're going to try and go back to see my family in Wisconsin.
Good.
Which people are like, man, why do you go to Wisconsin in the summer? Well, we got a lot of family there, and go there for a little bit and just kind of prep for what we can hopefully see is the fall, a full stadium.
So if I need 2 tickets to that Ohio State game,
you're going to wait a little bit longer before you get any information on that. Your show might be over by then. You can take your summer break. If you want to come back from your hiatus, we can talk about it.
Duck Insider special, can Joey find some tickets? H.J. Cohn is our guest. H.J. Cohn's our guest, Senior Associate Athletic Director. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for always taking the time to chat with us. Anytime I ask, you're always willing.
We have fun.
It.
It's a fun time for both. I always love it.
Yeah, Carl's Jr. on me next time.
All right. Fair enough.
We're going to get a quick timeout. When we return, a new addition to the Oregon men's basketball roster. This is a guy I think you're going to get pretty darn excited about. We'll introduce you to him when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, it's Jan from Toyota. Summer's finally here, and with a great deal on a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, Tacoma, and more, you can celebrate all of your favorite summer holidays, like Cinco de Mayo, Independence Day, International Pizza Party Day. Pepperoni, please. And by pepperoni, I mean Hawaiian.
Kick off summer at your Toyota dealer, where you can save big on all your favorites. This event ends June 1st. See your participating Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier.
My daughter, Brooklyn, was also a motivation for me to go back to school.
Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
It's always fun talking with H.J. Cohn, the Senior Associate Athletic Director for the Duck Athletic Fund. Covered a lot there, you know, and I really want to say, I mean, I know we have a lot of fun. Obviously, H and I clearly do not get along at all. And so, we covered a lot there, and I think maybe the biggest takeaways are we still don't exactly know what the fall will look like, but we're all hoping in a positive direction that things are trending well. And so I think hearing that a little bit from H.J. and just talking about some of the plans ahead, we were just talking even about it there during the break a little bit. Fans, just, appreciate your patience. Thanks for sticking with us. But at the end of the day, I do think that we're trending in a positive direction, which is great. That's what we all want. So it's Athletic Director Tuesday, brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi. New men's basketball recruit. We are officially into Dana Altman Rubik's Cube time. Oregon men's basketball team has added, well, not just a really good player, but how about an All-American from the junior college ranks? Rivaldo Suarez, head coach Dana Altman announced that he is joining the team yesterday. 6'6" guard out of Boston, Massachusetts. Spent the last 2 seasons at South Plains College in Levelland, Texas. Was named a first-team All-American and, the Western Junior College Athletic Conference Player of the Year as a sophomore. Coach Altman said, quote, "We're excited to add Rivaldo to our program. He's a young talent who we feel can develop and continue to get better. He's a versatile player who will be able to play multiple positions and do a lot for us on both ends of the court." He averaged 15.2 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game. Does that remind you maybe a little bit of another junior college guy that came into the Ducks who was an All-American at the JC level? Reminds me of him a little bit, watching some of the highlights of Rivaldo Suarez. No pressure, Rivaldo. It's Chris Duarte who I'm talking about, of course, who I think is going to be a very high NBA pick. But I say all that tongue-in-cheek, but he does have stats. He does have the size. He does have the scoring ability and does things away from the ball the way that Duarte did. Shot 45.5% from the floor, 34.5% from three-point range last year. Dynamic scorer. He finished in double figures 17 times as a sophomore, including 5 games with 20-plus points. I think that's going to be a great addition to Oregon's roster as the Ducks continue to bolster that men's basketball roster. Now I'm already excited about basketball season, and it's May, right? But congratulations to Dana Altman as the Ducks continue to put their roster together for next year. Also of note, how about some cool accolades? Robert Ahlstrom does it again. the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week, an impressive weekend against Washington, his third weekly honor of the season. Struck out a career-high 11 batters, 7 scoreless innings in a win over the Huskies on Friday. Ducks lefty allowed just 4 hits with no walks, held an opponent without a run through 7 innings for the third consecutive start. 3 consecutive starts without allowing. That's ridiculous. Ducks ace extended his scoreless streak to 14 innings while not giving up a run in 23 of his last 24 innings pitched. Alstrom had runners on the corners with no outs in both the second and third innings, but pitched out of both jams without allowing a run. That's the competitiveness to him. With 2 outs, his opponent batting average is less than 100 points on the hill. That's great for a starter. Had 5 of his 11 strikeouts in the first 3 innings and cruised from there, allowing just 1 more batter to reach base over his final 4 innings of work. Alstrom, in the process, he's on the list now with some pretty impressive names. Just the second Oregon pitcher to earn the conference's weekly honor 3 times in a season. David Peterson did it. He claimed the honor 3 times during the 2017 season. Robbie Alstrom, also the Pac-12 player this season, the first Pac-12 player this season to claim 3 conference player or pitcher of the week awards. So remember, there's a pitcher of the week award, there's a player of the week award. Well, he's the first of position players and of pitchers to win the award 3 times. Season ends today, Robert Alstrom's Pac-12 pitcher of the year. Season ends in 3 weeks, I think Robert Alstrom's probably the Pac-12 pitcher of the year. I'm telling you, he's that good. That's the Friday night guy, and you know what maybe is the coolest part of it if you're an Oregon fan? Guess where he grew up? Eugene, Oregon. That's pretty cool, man. It's awesome for Robbie Alstrom, and congratulations to him. Now keep it going. Ducks are on the road at Utah. I'll have the call for you Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when the Ducks face the Utes. I don't know yet if there's actually going to be a live stream. I know it's not a TV game. I don't know yet if there's going to be a live stream from Utah because the Ducks will not be playing that series this weekend in Salt Lake City. They're actually going to play it in Ogden, Utah, just north of Salt Lake City because the Bees, the AAA team in Salt Lake, and the Utes share the same ballpark, and that's not going to be the case for quote-unquote home games for Utah now the rest of the month of May. Meanwhile, for women's golf, talked to you about it a little bit there with H.J., but extreme weather and poor course conditions have forced play at the Baton Rouge Regional to be canceled for the 2nd day in a row on Tuesday at the University Club. So the Ducks, among the teams that are out there that are still waiting to tee off, they were supposed to start Monday. Now they're not able to go today. Plan is to begin play with a shotgun start at 8 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. That was scheduled to be the final day of the 3-day regional. Decisions regarding the amount of holes and number of rounds that can be completed on Wednesday are actually still to be determined as of our announcement here today. So I know a lot of you are probably going, well, what if they can't play? Well, if the regional is unable to be played, the top 6 seeds in the 18-team field would automatically advance to the NCAA championships May 21st through 26th. Those are in Scottsdale, Arizona. And by the way, Oregon, the number 4 seed in the Baton Rouge Regional. So if they're not able to play tomorrow, that means that the Ducks would advance. If they're not able to play the regional, the Ducks actually would advance without having to tee off. But to be honest with you, I think that Coach Radley and Coach Vaughn and all of the student athletes would agree with this. That would stink. You know, like, you're out there to play. Like, yeah, so we'll keep you up to date. You can follow along with the Oregon women's golf social media, but I hope that they're able to get that regional in because that would sure be a shame if they're not able to. A lot more accolades, I should say, coming up, including Brooke Yanez, everybody. So Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week. Well, we know today now she's the National Pitcher of the Week for Oregon softball. Brooke Yanez, just an incredible weekend. And, you know, it's easy for me to sit here and say, gosh, she's been so good, but she has been. She gives Oregon a chance to win every time she's in the circle. And we're going to talk with her head coach, Melyssa Lombardi, about that coming up in just a second, as the Oregon softball head coach will join us via Zoom, well, right after this, actually, on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, welcome to the Spicy Drive-In. May I take your order?
Can I get the spicy chicken sandwich, please?
The spicy chicken is an excellent choice, sir. And to drink?
Whatever's fine.
Oh, may I make a beverage pairing recommendation this evening?
Sure.
If we are feeling especially bold tonight, sir, I would recommend the Mountain Dew with that. It's bravely unrestrained with a very alive aroma that pairs wonderfully with your spicy chicken. It's followed by a hint of zesty citrus flavor.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I'm sure you already know this, sir, but remember to appreciate the nose first by giving the Mountain Dew a little swirl to relieve volatilize it.
What?
To change the flavor compounds and activate your taste buds to get them fully primed for that chicken sandwich.
Ah, it's delicious.
Now you're getting the hang of it. The muscular, flavor-charged characteristics of Mountain Dew make for an absolutely epic mouthfeel when paired with spicy cuisine. It is quite on point, sir.
Dude, it's a perfect match. Like they were made for each other.
So true, so true.
When you want to make good food bolder and bold food better, do the Dew.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics. This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart savings strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
We're back inside the Country Financial Studio. It is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Every Tuesday, I love this time of day. We get a chance to talk with Melyssa Lombardi, head coach Oregon softball on the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line. They're at Jane Sanders Stadium today, but going to be traveling down to Berkeley here pretty soon, right, Coach? What's the schedule here? You guys traveling tomorrow?
Yes, we have practice today, and then we travel tomorrow on Wednesday, and then we'll play our series Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be fun as we approach postseason for Oregon softball. Before we look ahead, I want to look back, though, Coach. You know, you guys, you go 500 on the weekend against just a ho-hum, another top 10 team, but you won the Pac-12 series, so you had to feel pretty good, especially after winning the first two against the Wildcats, right?
Yes, felt great. It was, we talk a lot about getting that first one. So to get the first one and then to get the second was huge for us.
How good was that feeling? And I'm going to paint the picture for fans a little bit. It wasn't going well offensively until the last inning on Friday night. And then suddenly, how fast can a softball game change? That's at least what I said, Coach. Was that like the ultimate example of everything can just change on a dime?
Yep, I think that's what's so what people love about our sport is that it can change that quick and it can change fast. And unfortunately for us, it changed on a positive note.
Yeah, Haley Cruz on senior weekend, of course, breaks up the perfect game, and then Tara McGowan hits a bomb. Has that home run landed yet?
She hit that over the net.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can count, I think, on one hand, Coach, the amount that I've seen do that at Jane Sanders Stadium since the stadium was built. But that's also just the power that Tara McGowan brings to the table, right? She strikes a little bit of fear into the opposing team.
Yeah, for sure. And just she's clutch. She's been clutch all year. She's been clutch since she's gotten here. So to watch Haley with two strikes battle and get a base hit to right, to watch Allie Bunker come up first pitch and put a perfect bunt down to advance Haley to second, and then Tara again with two strikes battle, get her pitch and drive it out of the park.
So I'm curious too, Coach, as we look back on the weekend. I talk about that because it was fun on Friday, but how good was Brooke Yanez? I mean, Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week, National Pitcher of the Week. How do you put into words how good your starting pitcher was?
She's pretty good.
That was the best answer I could have asked for. I mean, so let me read you some of the numbers. For those of you who are just joining us, weekly honor for the second time this season. She shut down the top offense in the Pac-12 coming into the weekend. A .38 ERA, 24 strikeouts, 1 walk over 18 2/3 innings, back-to-back complete game victories in the first 2 games of the series. I mean, just if you get that from Brooke Yanez, Coach, you guys are tough to beat.
Yeah, very tough, very tough. I mean, we talk about it all the time about our pitchers giving us a chance to win. She, no question, every time she took the mound this past weekend, gave us a chance to win.
Did you see something going into the weekend, Coach, like, oh, it's going to be a good weekend for Brooke?
There were some things that she worked on during the week, and nothing out of the norm. But I can tell you that earlier in the game, when she gave up the home run, I went out to the mound, and really all I did was I went out to the mound just really to try to just get a little control of the momentum, and they had their leadoff coming up next, who has really good speed. And I said, you guys, I'm just coming out here for us just to reset, take a second, and to tell you that this girl's going to try to bunt for a hit and take advantage of the momentum that's going on. And when I went out there, they're like, yeah, coach, we just got done talking about that. We expect. So I love that. And then I looked at Brooke, and the look that she had in her eyes, I said, that's all I'm here for. And I walked away. She had it.
Man.
She had it.
So when you're in the dugout, coach, I mean, and you're like, okay, I got to go out there and stop the momentum. I mean, what do you think about as you approach your players? I mean, are you kind of like, okay, we got to feel this out, or do you already know what you're going to say when you get up and you walk out there?
No, I already know what I'm going to say. I mean, it's not our first mound visit, but right. Basically, lots of times when you go out onto the mound, you're going out there because there's things that we've got to get under our control again. And I don't feel like that was the case. We're going to give up home runs. I mean, it's going to happen. What I wanted to do was just go out there and just try to regain some momentum or slow that momentum down, just reset. To me, I feel like that's the most important thing is, can we reset after something like that? If you can do that, if you can make an in-game adjustment in the heat of the moment with all the emotions and everything and the pressures of the game, good things will come. And when I went out on the mound, they confirmed to me what I wanted to see from them. So I said, okay, watch for the bunt, and I walked away.
Everything that you just said makes me think that this team is a very mature group, and yet I look at the roster, it's still a pretty young roster, right, Coach? I mean, do you feel like this team has really grown up a lot in the last year?
Oh my gosh, for sure. I talk about our super seniors and seniors as elders, but younger athletes on this team act like elders. And that was a prime example, is when I went out on the mound and talked with them and walked away. And then they got off the field. They didn't come off the field panicked or like, oh, we have to press. They were composed. They were poised and just knew what they needed to do. And that was, let's get the leadoff on.
Melyssa Lombardi.
Pass the bat. Whoops, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I was going to reintroduce you. Melyssa Lombardi joining us, Oregon softball head coach. Hey, so, I mean, you talk about that. Haley Cruz, I mean, I could just say her name, and I feel like you're going to be like, yeah, she's pretty good. I mean, that's a cool weekend for a senior who's been through the journey like her, to put the numbers together like she did, have such an impact. I mean, that you can't write that any better, right? You can't script that any better.
No, she's been there, done that. She knows exactly what she wants to do the rest of the way. She knows how she wants to finish her career. She's going to walk off on her own terms. She's going to do everything she can to put this team in a position to win. I don't have to coach her.
Man, is that a dream when you get to a point as a coach where you're like, I'm good. Like I don't need to coach you anymore.
Yep.
Man, are we ever going to get to that point with broadcasters? Like, is Scott ever going to have to not coach me? I mean, shoot, this is, that's what it's all about. In all seriousness, Coach, I mean, we obviously, you've done these interviews with me every week, and I always thank you for doing so. You know that I like to have a lot of fun, but this was an emotional weekend, I'm sure. Celebrating the seniors, particularly the ceremony before the game on Sunday. I mean, just what was that like for you as a coach and for your student athletes?
It was good because, you look at a year ago and we didn't even know if our seniors, they didn't get to finish their season and have a senior weekend. So we didn't know even up to this point if they were going to get a senior weekend just because of the COVID issues that we've been having. So I think for us all to be able to get out there on the field and celebrate them as people and as student athletes and as teammates and all their hard work and their dedication to the sport and to this program, I mean, it needed to be celebrated, and I'm so thankful that we were able to do that.
It's a little bit of a shorter week now with a selection coming up this upcoming weekend, Coach. How did that change your schedule, kind of packing things in a little bit shorter with a Thursday start to a series?
Yeah, definitely. But I think what's good for this group is they're in a really good place right now. It's just us about preparing for our opponent and getting back out there on the field and playing.
Cal, what's the report on a Golden Bear squad that you guys will face for the first time at 3 o'clock on Thursday?
Tough, gritty. They get after it. They compete. I would give you the same scout that I've been giving every week. Every Pac-12 team has got it. It's about us going out there and competing against them and taking it one inning, one pitch, one game at a time.
So obviously we're not – I've been talking about it. The postseason is right around the corner. We know that the projections have you guys right there, and this is obviously a huge weekend like every weekend is in the Pac-12. With all that in mind, Coach, I mean, what do you want to shore up? What do you think your team needs to do this weekend and then moving forward throughout the rest of the season that we hope lasts about another month or so? What do you want to shore up on your squad?
I think they're at a good spot. I think it's just them continuing to get out there and to play and to do the things that we've been talking about all year with offense, defense, and pitching. So I think they're in a great spot.
Cal, Thursday, 3 o'clock, then a doubleheader starting at noon on Friday. We'll have updates for you, of course, on Duck Insider throughout the week. And then 11 a.m. on Saturday in Berkeley, the Ducks will wrap up the regular season. Well, Coach, I'm looking forward to catching up with you next week. And here's to catching up with you, and you're not having to travel next week. That's all I'll say, okay?
That works for me.
All right. Melyssa Lombardi, head coach Oregon softball, kind enough to join us. When we come back, a lot more to get to today, including, well, some more honors for the Ducks. Pac-12, National, there's a lot of good things to talk about. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio, and today's show always brought to you by our friends at North Fork Public House, open for dine-in out. I'm going to make that a thing. We're still trying to make that a thing. It's like when you're dining in, but you're actually, sitting outside, dine in out. That's a terrible joke. I'm gonna have to ask our friends at North Fork if it's worked at all with our what we've been doing. Also brought to you by Shadow Hills Country Club, your family resort just minutes from home. Call for a tour today. Taking a look at a few things as you're live with us. This is actually just coming out now during the 1 o'clock hour, as Governor Brown has announced some metrics for reopening. Great news. Looks like the Ducks will be reopening. Or not the Ducks. Ducks. I hope the Ducks are going to be reopening. But Lane County and all the other counties throughout Oregon are going to be reopening when vaccinations are at 70% of the entire population have your first dose. So I think, like we've been talking about, look, the light is flickering at the end of the tunnel. It's a good sign. So there's obviously more details in your local media, and various announcements, but I'm just seeing that now flying across the screen today. I don't know what Scott's doing over there. Oh, he's flickering a light. God, that's terrible. Show the wide shot. Show the wide shot. All right, those of you who can see that flashing light that he's holding, that's his phone. I don't know if it didn't work. The light's flickering though. You're right. And so, yeah, hey, look, that's awesome. I'm glad that we're starting to see some of that of, a path toward getting back to some semblance of normalcy. Talk about getting back to a semblance of normalcy. Well, maybe the best way to do that is break down for you a little bit of what it's going to take for Oregon baseball here down the stretch. I said we were going to talk a little bit about the honors. What we have with Robert Alstrom, Brookie Nesbitt. The Ducks won the softball pitcher of the week and the baseball pitcher of the week in the same week. It's a good weekend to be a Duck. Good week to be a Duck heading into the next next weekend. I'm all over the place today. Next weekend. The Ducks, though, are currently for Oregon baseball sitting at number 10 in the RPI. Feels pretty darn good to sit at number 10 in the RPI. Ducks are 30-11 overall, and in the Pac-12 standings, Oregon is sharing first place right now with a .667 winning percentage. Stanford also right there. Arizona also right there as well. So down the stretch they come. Ducks got to take care of business in this series on the road at Utah. Been talking about that and some of the postseason projections. Alex Stimson's going to be here for you doing Duck Insider on Thursday and on Friday. I'm really looking forward to joining him actually from the road, and I'm looking forward to being with Oregon baseball on the road because, man, that's just going to be fun down the stretch as the Ducks will take on Utah. Then they're going to host Stanford in what could be the decisive series in the Pac-12 here down the stretch. That's next weekend at PK Park. Right now, the latest field of 64 released by D1 Baseball. Kendall Rogers always does such a great job following everything. Right now, Oregon is an 11 seed. I feel like the Ducks are, at this point, a virtual lock to host unless they just totally face-plant down the stretch. Now, don't tell Mark Wasikowski I said that because one game at a time, right? But I feel like if Oregon could take care of business, get some wins against Utah, win that series against Stanford, win your regular season series finale against Cal, is currently 10-11 in Pac-12 games. If the Ducks do that, how is the Pac-12 champion not a top 8 seed? And remember, if you're a top 8 seed, that means that you will host, that's right, you will host the Super Regionals if you take care of business in your regional as well. So that's the path forward. I think the Ducks are a lock to host. I think they're going to get in. They're definitely in. Now it's just a question of where do they slot and getting into the postseason, who do they end up playing? Mark Wasikowski met with the media today. We'll have those interviews for you later on in the week as we preview Oregon baseball a little bit more in depth. He did say that the Ducks are maybe going to be scheduling another game against Gonzaga. They were supposed to be playing Gonzaga tonight and tomorrow. Those games canceled due to COVID protocol within the Gonzaga program. So as a result, where do the Ducks go? And what do they do schedule-wise? Well, they're not able to play any games this week. They couldn't find a midweek opponent. But moving forward, could I see them adding a game against Gonzaga? Yes. Coach Wasikowski said that they are looking to be able to do that. So we'll see, and we'll keep you up to date as we know more. Also, man, I just really hope that Oregon women's golf can get that regional in. They're supposed to start tomorrow after 2 days of their regional have been rained out, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to do it tomorrow and eat some jambalaya and some catfish as well. Rob Moses is going to join us tomorrow. A little more in-depth look at the baseball postseason and the breakdown. Casey Martin, head coach Oregon men's golf, will be with us on the show tomorrow. Busy day tomorrow. And then I'm hitting the road. Going to be fun. See you, everybody.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Man, do I